everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another Make a Card My Day video. Have to apologize for my voice. I'm sort of losing it today. Today I'm using the stamp set from Hero Arts. It's one of their brand new stamp sets that just came out. And the first thing I'm doing is measuring my cardstock that I'm going to be stamping on. I measured it to be the exact width of that cityscape, or just a little bit larger actually. And then I kind of spaced out my stamps on that piece of cardstock so that I could use some die cuts and put a mask on this cardstock. So I cut out the letters U and R out of some Inkadinkado stamping mask paper, and then I applied those onto my cardstock and pressed them down really, really well. I'm going to be blending on some Tim Holtz Distress inks, and I'm starting with the color Mustard Seed. Because I'm going to be stamping that cityscape at the bottom, I'm extending that yellow more into that cardstock than any of the other colors I'm going to be using. After Mustard Seed, I brought in some Spiced Marmalade and just brought that in from each side and then kind of went across the center to try to get it to blend a little bit more. Then I brought in Picked Raspberry. I love Picked Raspberry. I think it might be my most favorite color of all the Distress inks. It's such a pretty pink. And then I brought in Seedless Preserve just from the top edge. And I realized that a lot of that pink kind of got lost in there, so I went back over it with some more Picked Raspberry. Then I took a mister tool and just misted some water into my hand and let it dribble onto the blended piece of cardstock. The Distress ink repels the water, or it moves it out or resists it, and then you get these cool water droplet shapes. I think it's such a cool texture and effect. So after I added the water and dabbed it off with a paper towel, I dried it with my heat tool just to help it dry quicker. You could also just let it air dry. Then I peeled off those letter masks, and I'm left with UR in stark white. I think it looks so nice. I then took some VersaFine Black Onyx ink and I inked up that cityscape and stamped it at the very bottom. I am going to be trimming this so it looks like the city bleeds off the edge, but for now I'll just leave it at this size. And then I took the Totally stamp and the same Black Onyx VersaFine ink and I stamped that kind of overlapping the white letters. Then I took the arrow and stamped that onto some white cardstock and colored the outside border of that arrow with a Seedless Preserves Distress marker. That's just going to help bring in that purple color near the bottom of the card. After I cut it out, I took a brush tip marker and painted the edges of this arrow. This just makes it look like I cut it out perfectly, and it disguises any of that white core of the cardstock. It's always a good idea to paint the edges of your cutout pieces because it makes it look more finished. So I put some foam adhesive on the back of the arrow and put that down onto my stamped and inked piece here. For my card base today, I'm using Simon Says Stamp Slate, and I cut it to 4 1/4 by 11 and then scored it at 5 1/2 so that it becomes a top folding card. Finished card size of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm now using this large background stamp from Hero Arts with some Simon Says Stamp black ink, and since I'm going to be stamping this onto a gray cardstock, it's going to have a kind of reverse effect and make it look like the letters are in gray and the background is in black. I love stamps like this, and there aren't that many stamps like this out there, so this is a great one to grab, especially if you want to have more of a kind of funky, really young looking card. I think this stamped image is awesome for that. So there you go. I use this in one other card. You'll recognize that same technique with the gray cardstock. If you've been watching my card videos for a while, I'll link that video up in the top corner if you want to check that out. But I took my inked piece and I put that on some white cardstock and just cut it out so that it had a white border. And then I put some foam adhesive on the back and adhered that directly down onto the card base. Now I'm going to be adding a little bit of detail onto this card, and I've placed a bunch of sequins. I didn't even keep track of what colors I used because I have so many. I just picked a bunch that had the right colors. I'm now taking Ranger Multi-Matte Medium and picking up each of the sequins with the quick stick tool, and then using the other end of the quick stick tool that comes out like that little pointy piece. And this is where I do card surgery. I totally feel like a surgeon when I'm doing this because I've got tools in both hands and I'm placing all those sequins. The cool thing about using this Ranger Multi-Matte Medium is that it dries to a matte finish, so you can't even tell if there's any adhesive underneath these sequins. It's especially nice for the clear sequins, like the two really big sequins that are on this. Those are completely clear, so it's nice to have a clear adhesive underneath. I used Ranger Glossy Accents on the arrow, and that finishes the card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys on Wednesday for a brand new card video. And I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who subscribed to my channel over the last few days. We reached 100,000 subscribers, so stay tuned, watch soon. I will have a set of awesome giveaways. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Once again, thanks for watching, and I have 3 more card videos for you to check out, and they all feature distress inks. So if you are a distress ink fan, or if you have a few distress inks and want to see different things you can do with them, go ahead and click on any of these videos and you can watch those cards being made. You can visit my blog at kwarnerdesign.com, and you can visit me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.